Hello, classy tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play some more Final Fantasy Renaissance with me, BlueAnkylo, with our fancy new classes. As I may have mentioned at the end of last episode, I have done a little grinding in between episodes, just up to level 6. I think we were 4, nearly 5 when we stopped, and I just spent, 20 minutes getting some levels. It's just boring stuff. I also caved and bought some of the Provoca sort of mid-tier gear. I've been finding my starting this combination of classes and jobs isn't off to an amazing start. The Dark Knight does a ton of damage but misses constantly, and the upgrade was not very expensive, and it does give us 5% more accuracy, but also like 9 more damage, which is a 50% increase in basic damage. So that seemed good, and I also increased from a regular short bow to a long bow, which is, again, like if over 50% damage increase with a bit of hit, so probably worth it. Similarly, I upgraded the staff, and I bought like standard iron armor, as you do. It's a pretty good one, and I made sure everyone had I bought like the new scarf that gives a little bit of hit percent. Although I think our bows work differently. I've never seen my archer that should have enough hit percent to get 2 attacks now. Every multiple of 32 usually gives you a second attack, or if you're punching, 2 extra attacks. But I have a feeling the bow doesn't work like that. I was trying to get a good feel for what this means. Increases the raw damage dealt by bow attacks based on total hit percent, and it may mean that they only ever get 1 shot, which it's not great, but we'll see. Basically, what I was finding is Cecil misses a lot and then does a lot of damage when he hits. Maria misses a lot and does a little bit of damage when she hits. The Thief hits relatively reliably, or at least he's fairly accurate, but also doesn't do very much damage. And then, the Time Mage doesn't do much damage. So I was very much limited by spell slots, and I went back and bought some of the cheaper ones. I spent my money on level 2 stuff. Dim. I don't know if I highlighted this in Provoca. The only spell we didn't take at level 2, there's always 4 spells for pure mages, and you have to pick 3 out of 4. We miss. I'll go back later on to check what it is, but this is a single target darkness spell, and originally I'm like, well, that's garbage because there's a level 2 dark spell that does AoE darkness. The difference is a lot of enemies resist status, and basically nothing resists dim. So although it's single target, it applies to almost anything. And again, I can't do this constantly, we're limited by spell charges, but it's very, very helpful for our Dark Knight to attack someone who's dark. And if he has to cast darkness himself, he's kind of wasting a turn. He's kind of our main DPS. So this gives me a way for the Time Mage to debuff an enemy and then for Cecil to kill them pretty good. And that does a lot of single target DPS. That combo there. I've crafted a couple arrows, although I haven't tested them out. I just used what I had. In theory, these shots are good debuffing, and I mean, percentage I'm not a huge fan of. I'm hoping those get better. But yeah, in theory, we'll see. The status afflictions could be good. This could be very much a status party. But yeah, I also picked up Muddle, which is also Time Elemental, a new spell. Confuse is actually very strong, one of the better debuffs. Enemies don't wake up from it immediately, and then they attack their friends. And then Slow is a hit everybody and reduce their number of attacks to 1, rather than lowering their accuracy like Darkness. Darkness doesn't do much to the enemy, but with the Dark Knight, it's got a good ability. And I also picked up Bio 2. It's another way to do some AoE. I feel like my damage output was pretty bad, so that's why I did a little bit of grinding, bought a little bit of stuff. And before I forget, I only held on to the old weapons so I could show you the differences. Yeah, it's not like they're worth any gold, really. They're the starting ones. There we go. But, yes, what we really want is that Silver Greatsword and the Elven Bow. Those will be, theoretically... I mean, the bows don't have a very high base damage, but we'll see. Those will be the big jumps. And the Thief doesn't get a jump, because Thieves are pretty bad. And he continues to be pretty bad. His give to the party is more about, getting us access to some extra, loot, mostly, right? Which is helpful, but hasn't contributed much to winning battles. There are still more spells that I'd like to buy. Obviously, Float is the thing I'm going to be using the most, and Burst 2 is pretty solid. Bio 2, pretty solid. Demi, you know, maybe 50% of an enemy, but whatever. I'll pick up one of those eventually, and I can get Hold on my Dark Knight if I care. I didn't show off the level 4 spells. I apologize for that. There's a lot of stuff for me to cover, and you know, I want to be thorough, but I also don't want to spend entire episodes just looking at shops. I could technically buy copper bracelets for the Thief and the Hunter because it's the same absorb as wooden armor and it's less penalty to evasion, but it's pretty minor upgrade for $1,000 bucks. There's better things to spend my money on. But yeah, the other spells that we didn't look at for later, for the Dark Knight, we will have access to Drain and Bleed. I don't know a whole lot about how these work, but they are ways of healing yourself, either hurting a friend to heal yourself or hurting an enemy to heal yourself. One sounds better than the other. Doubling spell effectivity, probably not very good in this group because we don't have spells. Old, I mean, that might be good. I don't know. Decreased strength each turn. That means maybe in 5 turns they have 0 strength. I don't know how enemy strength even works because enemies don't have a strength stat. So maybe that combos with the leg or the shot we had from the archer that lowers damage of enemies, but we'll see. Marks, maybe we'll try it out. I didn't pick up the level 2 Mark spell because honestly I don't generally find these very effective. We don't have a good Ice 2 caster, but we can learn fast, and of course doubling your number of attacks when you only get 1 is twice as much. But between Darkness and Fast, we could have a pretty good... The Dark Knight basically has to be our boss killer, is the way this is going to go. So anyway, that's kind of the thing. We're starting to get a little bit of sweeping damage magic. But I want to show off a cool trick, because I came up with a pretty good idea for how I want this Let's Play to go. If you're familiar with FF1, you already know the usual routine. You do the starting routine, you save the princess from Garland, you save Provoka from pirates, you come to Elfland, and you learn that the prince is asleep, and you need a Matoya to give him some herb, but she won't help until she gets her crystal, and Aslos has her crystal, but he won't give you a crystal till you get a crown, so you gotta go do Marsh Cave. That's the first, like, real dungeon is usually Marsh Cave, get the crown, and then it's a bunch of fetch quests to turn it all in, and then you get access to the open world. Technically, there is a button for that. This one. So you can leave the inner sea and go outside and basically sail around and go to Melmond and start doing your 4 elemental orb quests, basically, in the 4 corners of the world. That's the usual play, is, you know, in fact, you always have to do that in the vanilla game. But I have a devious plan. Usually, you cannot go east of Elfland because there's this stupid mountain and a little river. Eventually, you get a canoe after you beat the Earth dungeon a long way from now. But, like, what about that weird float spell? It does say you can float over water. Shallow water. Maybe not an ocean. Sure looks like we're floating. Oh. Well, we're not supposed to be here. And it doesn't last super long. But it does give you a warning. And I had to be level 6 because 1 is not enough. I guess technically we could have like a house to restore our MP in the field, but they're like 3,000 gold. It would have taken even longer to get them. But yeah, we're not supposed to be here. These enemies are gonna kill me, actually, probably, but you know, it's fine. What's a little bit of death between friends? But yeah, there's another river over here, so one cast would not be enough. But thankfully, level 6, we can just float right over this. I think there's enough steps. Yeah, not too bad. We got lots to spare, no problem. Looks like you can travel maybe 20 steps or so. So what does that mean? Well, we got a new town. This is a good fight if Tella wasn't about to die. Peds are really good for XP. Although they're pretty tough, and we're not very high level. Being poisoned is really annoying too, because this is 75 gold. But I can fight over here instead of by Elfland, and if we can win, we'll get a lot more moolah and XP. Plus, you never know. Maybe we'll find like a really cool sword here. I actually have no idea. But in theory, I figured it was worth taking my thief. So we're sequence breaking, which is, of course, really fun. Good thing I bought that other ribbon. Whatever, not ribbon, the other sash. Got a better one. Alright, another soft potion. Not too important, but depending on where I go next, might be good. So this bad boy, it is, yeah, just a straight upgrade over the wool one. 1 absorb, 1 evade. Just gets a bit of evade and 7 more hit. But I'm not sure if hit percent does really much on my... Like, we should be getting close to 3 attacks at 64 hit percent, but I don't think it works like that so far. So anyway, we just came straight here, which means we have access to even better shops. We can go straight to the Cobalt. This is... So the silver or mithril greatsword in Elfland was like 4,000 gold, give or take. So for just 50% more, we can just skip it and go to an even better one if we can make it. And same with the bow. Just skip the elven bow, go straight here. That's more efficient for money if we can afford it. Also, we could buy a silver knife, but whatever. But then again, we might just skip buying expensive stuff entirely, given our ability to teleport. There's another step of a totally worthless scarf, because we skipped that tier as well. Alright, other than that, silver armor is not going to be an upgrade, can't use a shield. Could get a buckler for the thief. Silver helmet and gloves are definitely upgrades for my Dark Knight. Those are all good. And, of course, you can buy potions and stuff here. So I think, for a minute, I'm going to see how well we can fight around Crescent Lake. But there are 2 dungeons available via walking on water, assuming we have enough distance. Like, we're going to need some houses to make that work. Okay, so here's a troll. This is a fight that you're generally not going to take till quite a lot later in the game. Even though it's just 1, which is probably good for me. It's got a lot of hit points. Oh, come on. I don't really want to use... It might count as a giant. Give it a try. I'm a bit worried we're going to lose our first fight here. I'm not even getting my dim. Didn't get a paralyze. We got nothing. We got Jack is what we got. Try one more time. Try one more time. There we go. We got the paralyze off. And we got the darkness off. And then it dies immediately because, of course, darkness is pretty good. So what does that mean? We just got 150 XP and 600 gold. Plus whatever we stole. That's not a ton. But compared to grinding on sharks and ogres, this is way, way better. And now we're not always going to get this fight. Like, this is kind of just funny. But there are other fights here that are good or bad, depending on our luck. The darkness is pretty much all I think I really need. As long as we get a darkness off, then Cecil will destroy him. And that's really the reason I bought that dim spell. We probably should basically save between every fight. Because there's probably going to be quite a few battles at this level that are unwinnable, right? Basically. Like, this is maybe winnable. They can kill our mages pretty quick. But, like, if I burn my AoEs here, that might be enough. Burst 2, I mean, hey, that's swept them on its own. Decent. 200 XP, again, that's like 5 ogres. EXP'd, everyone's favorite. In the randomizer, everyone loves the peds for their high EXP drops. And relatively easy to kill. Comparatively. Maybe I don't know if they've got a lot of gold. We should just always be stealing. The thief's not really killing anything. Not getting very good luck with my my dim spell. There we go. Yeah, maybe 1 ped's about as much as we can fight at this point. Try to do a little bit of magic damage in there. It's got like, what, 250 hit points or something like that. But yeah, 300 XP. Even though that took a little bit of, you know, messing around, and we're gonna have to spend a good chunk of the gold we made on pure potions, apparently, and the inn. But I think, like, if you're just like, you have to grind a couple levels, would you rather do it here at level 5-6 or back by maybe we could do like the dark spell? I don't know if that'll work. Maybe we should just try AoEs. We did get poison on one of them. I guess that's something. Oh man, they do hit real hard. You know what? that burst spell, not bad. If you're planning on resting at the inn anyway, like look at that, 1,200 gold for a couple spell casts, and we got our next level. Yeah, this is way, 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 way faster than trying to grind near Elfland. This is why I did it. But this is just the start, friends. This is just the start. I'll record it because this is totally sequence breaking. But in theory, Giants should be pretty good XP too. I believe they have a pretty low magic resistance stat or magic defense. So this is maybe one of the better ones to go for the inflicting the darkness thing. Yeah, no problem. So for slightly less gold than the inn price, we could use a tent to save. It's only 75 instead of 200 if we don't need healing. That fight is going to be too hard. Well, I should have tried it, but it would be an AoE attempt. And this fight, like, maybe it's worth... I don't know. There's a lot of fights like this that I normally would never take when I come to Crescent Lake. But given that we kind of just need XP and gold, and I do have some decent low-level sweepers. They're not going to be, like, late-game sweepers, but for now, that's pretty efficient. But it is often, I would say, in terms of grinding efficiency, it's often better to just reset. But you can see our gold, like, we're getting so much more money here than other places. I think I'm just going to buy myself a better sword for Cecil. And, you could try paralysis. Straight miss, and then dark. Got the paralyze. Maybe we try to get an aim kill on the second giant, because I do need to get some archer kills to actually get to make arrows. I think the problem I'm having right now for the archer is that they very rarely kill anything because they don't do very much damage. So I'm not getting a lot of the arrows that make them better. This is not full power. I could wait one more turn to get a full power. Goes up to 3 turns of charging. You get a little bit more than 100% per turn. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet because it doesn't go past 360. Like, I'm not sure if this is better than just attacking 3 times. Like, 3 times, if you hit 3 times, would be 300% damage, right? Like 100, 200, 300. So we're getting an extra 60% damage by saving up all this time. But, like, I think you can't miss with that skill, at least. So it's a little bit better. And adding your damage together the way defense works, or absorb. It's like, let's say an enemy had 50 absorb, pretty high number, like Chaos might have. If you do 60 damage, you actually only deal 10, right? Like 60 attack minus 50 defense is 10 damage. But if you go 60 plus 60 plus 60 over 3 turns, you get to 180. Still only minus 50 once. Now you're doing 130 damage. That's 13 times more damage if the math happens to line up like that. So there are probably some situations overcoming high defensive enemies and maybe evasive enemies, assuming you can't miss on the aim. But a lot of the times you just want to kill stuff quickly, and you're basically giving the enemy turns to hit you. But until then, let's make a major upgrade to the Cobalt Greatsword. This is skipping at least 1 or 2 tiers. And we're going to go from negative 2% accuracy to actually positive hit percent. And also massive damage upgrade. So I think that, that didn't take hardly any time at all. We're doing great. Yeah, 20 extra damage, 15 extra hit. No problem. I think I'm going to do the same thing and get a better bow for my archer. Because, I'm just talking about how he doesn't seem to do very much damage. He may never keep up with the Dark Knight, but we just skipped very far ahead in terms of Dark Knight DPS. So, I want to see what I can do with the archer to keep him catch up a little bit. Yeah, and I think I mentioned it in the first episode, but if you're wondering why we're getting more than 1 hit on the Dark Knight, it's because enemies that are affected with darkness, I'm not sure exactly what it does to your hit rate, but you generally seem to go plus 1 hit, I would say, is from what I've noticed. Although I don't know if it's always +1 exactly, or if it's +2 sometimes, or but it's not like you're hasted. I don't think it doubles your attacks, but it definitely gives you more. Oh, let's do some math here for thieving, right? Because I kept talking about how I can't see. I've got my hold on. I don't have to do math. You can actually change the battle speed without resetting the game. Well, this is not the fight for that, but I want to be able to see what I'm mugging from like trolls and giants, things that have a lot of gold normally. Still pretty quick. I didn't even get a good look at that. Normally I want these to go quicker, but this does give you a chance to see. But, you know, when you're just grinding, you don't need to sit down and watch. I mean, 45.50 plus 510. We stole like 100 gold, I think. Out of pures. Oh, they better sell pures here. I think they do. Yeah. We're just gonna buy like 20. I feel like I'm getting poisoned constantly. I know it slows down my bow upgrade, but we don't have anyone that can cast the spell to heal it. And there's like some abilities and stuff. Renaissance is really cool. There's so many like, well, even with just 6 classes, there's a lot of different combinations for your group. You can only imagine having, I don't know, how many jobs are there now? Like 12 or 15 or something like that? There are just so many possible combinations of groups of 4. We might not win this fight. This is a pretty tough group. That's good. 1 out of 4, not great. I'm just gonna go for broke here and burn all my spells. Good turn order, that really makes a difference. Yeah. Good job, Tella. And just like that, we're hitting level 8. Beautiful. Do I have enough money for that? Yeah, probably do. Could probably get that bow. I think it's like 5 grand or something. Yeah. So, we've still never seen the archer hit twice with a plus 58. This is another couple steps up. Like we're skipping the elven bow to go straight to silver. 10% hits. It's a lot more crit rate. I mean, it might be worth it. Now, I will say, as much as this is fun and I'm having a good time trying something new out, maybe never done before. I mean, I'm sure someone's done this in Renaissance, but until Renaissance, never done before. It's still probably more efficient to play through the game normally. You will get more progression and loot by doing the earlier dungeons, probably. But this is unique, and I'm having a good time just trying stuff out, basically. Darkness, 150 damage is looking pretty good. Still 1 hit 68, that's not much. Darked again. 284. Yeah, there we go. That 58 base damage is an awful lot for this point in the game. It's just a matter of connecting. So one thing we don't have access to is the silver bracelet. Oddly enough, they don't sell it here, and that is what our mages all need for armor upgrades. But I will give our it's like +6. What I'm thinking is I want to go and do the ice cave next, but the ice cave is pretty spooky, and we're not going to have access to like all the usual gear I have from Melmond and Earth Cave. I'm not going to bother with that fight. This is still an ambush. I don't like ambushes. These are no. I want like giants and stuff. Giants and trolls. Oh my, there. That's fine. The ambush is whatever. Not the end of the world. Steel. Okay, I really got paying attention to the number on this thief. What is he stealing? Was that 74 or 740? Well, he's dead. I am definitely feeling that Dark Knight though, with the time magic giving us the dim for cheap, or basically darkness for cheap. Basically taking a unreliable, not amazing melee fighter and turning him into something pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not surprised. When I first played I did do a run with the Dark Knight before. I found that they started really slow, but by the time you got to the later parts of the game, they start really catching up. And I think he gets 3% hit per level. So as you level up, he does very quickly get more attacks compared to like a thief that only gets 2 per level. I would say the weakest link so far is our hunter, actually. Not that the thief is doing a lot, but constantly stealing is powering us up. I feel like he is stealing hundreds of gold. And it must not come out of the final total when you win the fight. I thought it was just going to be like, you win the fight and you get that much less. But no, that's 300 gold per P must be... I mean, we can actually check. I'm pretty confident that is their standard drop. Peed. They drop 300 gold each, and about 300 experience if you divide by 4. Which means we're getting 50 to 100. Okay, so every time you steal, you could get up to 300 gold. So depending what, you know what? I think at first I was like, that can't, I didn't, immediately understand how it works. But like, giants, right, drop a lot of gold. 879. So you get between 440 and 879 gold every time you steal from a giant. And this is part of why we're going to be buying all this gear so quickly. So if we didn't have the thief, we would be spending longer doing this. Well, the experience would be the same, but the money portion of the grind would be maybe twice as long? Depends on how many steals we get off per fight, but... It depends on what we're fighting, because some things don't drop a lot of gold individually, but... Yeah, I guess that's another thing you could start memorizing, is like which enemies drop the most gold. I'm going to turn my message speeds up a bit, because I think I figured out what I needed to figure out. I don't need to see the numbers perfectly. And we're level 9 already. Yeah, I mean, the levels are doing just fine, too. Wrong button. Not bestiary. Options. Preferences. We'll leave it at 7. 8's maybe a little bit too quick to see anything. We do need to see some numbers. So yeah, this is the guy we're going to steal, like, 600 bucks on average per turn. That's pretty solid. Yeah, that was 670, I think. But it's like, it doesn't run out of money, right? Like, a lot of Final Fantasies and JRPGs, like, you can't repeat steal from the same target. But it seems like you can in this one, so you just kind of get infinite glitch. You could just wait them out and steal, like, 10,000 gold on one fight if you really felt like it. Interesting. Okay, well, we're level 9. There's definitely one more piece of armor for the Dark Knight that I was going to buy. Don't need the copper glove. What else is there worth picking up while we're here? I guess I could buy the buckler for the thief. It's not much. It's literally just 2 armor, but he needs kind of whatever we can get, I guess. Especially because I haven't got a silver bracelet yet. But it's better than nothing. And I think that's all the armor upgrades. Yeah. In terms of weapon upgrades available... Yeah, other than doing some dungeons for better swords, technically speaking, we could level up enough to get level 6 magic. Maybe. Time Elemental Doom kills them in 3 turns. Doesn't sound that amazing. Teleport, though. This is the one I want. Sadly, also, we don't have access to the warp spell because you'd pick it up at level 5 in Melmond. So by doing this sequence break, it is going to make the ice cave more difficult. But I'm okay with that. So I think what I need now, basically, because we have 0 access to healing magic, I'm going to need like a full stack of heals, a good number of pures, and a bunch of houses. So that's all we're going to do next. Oh, I don't have enough money. That's probably like another 5,000 gold, maybe one more level up or so. What do you guys think? Level 10 for attempting the ice cave without doing like sequence breaking all the way to ice like that? That sounds spicy. Depends how much time we've got, but yeah, the archer. I mean, I could also save up some money to get some level 4 magic when we go back to Elfland. The fast spell would be potentially helpful. Wait, was that the archer that got a big hit there? Was that like a crit for massive damage? Maybe that's the build for archers. We're probably strong enough that we don't need to save every single fight anymore. Pretty safely at this point. It's always a nice feeling when you go from barely scraping in a new area, barely scraping by, to like pretty confidently able to kill everything. Like, my biggest weakness right now, I would say, is armor. A lot of my team is very fragile. But we're catching up. We're getting HP. Hit points at least take you pretty far. Oh, we're out of dims. No more dimming allowed. $50 damage. Nothing special. 90 damage. Alright, so this is the fight where maybe I should have gone dark first. Seeing as I ran out of dims. 150 damage on and a dark didn't work. 150 damage on the archer is a little bit better. Stupid dark spell. But I mean, if we just want money, I guess every turn the thief basically gets a half of a giant kill for free. And we are getting some craftables here. Oh, that was all we had. 50% chance to inflict blindness, confusion, or stone. Well, blindness is good. Stone just kills them, I think. Confusion's decent. Alright. I have hopes that the archer will grow on me over time. And there is, of course, the class change, which, you know, tends to unlock a whole bunch of new abilities for everybody, and maybe they'll turn out to be really awesome after that. No, always be stealing. Kind of wish I could have, like, an auto command, because I think my thief most of the time should just be using Mug, because he doesn't do enough damage to really contribute. So, like, losing 20% of his damage and no crits doesn't really matter. I'd rather just take the gold. And this is, like, a pretty expensive team. We've got one full caster that needs a lot of spells, a half caster that needs a decent number of spells. The armor and weapons is... It's more expensive if you have more, like, fighters with heavy armor and stuff, but... still not cheap. See if I can do one more before we rest up. Well, you guys are getting the grind experience after all. It wasn't my plan to show a lot of grinding off on camera, but you know what happens. You know what's going to happen in a Final Fantasy game. I know a good number of you just love watching the grinding anyways. No, Maria. That's why I don't normally do this fight. Damage output, fairly high. XP and gold income, not that amazing. Well, I think that's enough gold officially to finish the heal portion of the shopping. And maybe, I don't know how many pure potions I'm going to need. 30 is probably lots. So then it's just a matter of, like, probably want to buy a couple level 4 spells. And I'm going to need some houses. And maybe some tents just for general saving purposes. Good, good. Oh. Order's all mixed up. We might be pretty close to not needing the status effects anyway. Well, then we just miss straight up. Yeah, I'm still... I like Dark Knights. I'm not sure I'm like in love with them. Very swingy, you know, massive damage or nothing. I think just basic fighters are probably considerably more reliable. But, and also being able to equip a shield does help for status protections and stuff pretty soon. But the main thing for the Time Mage is, like, doing these sort of sequence breaks, right? So I think because I brought him, I really want to show off kind of an alternate ordered playthrough. So I want 4,000 gold for haste, 100%. Is there anything else that's, like, super valuable to pick up at level 4? I don't think we're going to get any good damage sweepers. Like, Burst 2 is pretty much as good as it's going to get. Until we get castable items. That'll happen soonish. Well, not soon, but ish. Emphasis on the ish. If I can get through Ice Cave in a timely manner, then soonish. Okay, can we just auto-fight to win against one troll? Surely. $186 from the archer. There we go. There we go. So it must just be their crits that are where we get the value. I wonder if that makes... I think that makes the aiming worse. Because it becomes like overkill. Like, because you only have like a, I don't know, 20% chance to crit or something right now. If you save up to 360% damage and then crit, sure, you'll one-shot them, but you didn't need the crit at that point. It doesn't give you any value. Whereas right now, just attacking every turn, if I manage to get lucky and pull a crit off, it will save us, you know, the enemies will die a turn earlier or something, which is definitely helpful. Seeing as we still get murdered all the time. I wonder if we're actually going to be able to do the ice cave like this. Like, am I going to hit a wall here? I think I'll go for 15,000 gold. Might sound like a lot, but it won't take very long, I don't think. That's enough for a couple level 4 spells and a couple houses. You could probably get soft locked by doing my float strat, so I have to be a little bit careful. I have to have enough to get out of the ice cave. So I'll have to count how many uses of how many recharges it takes to get out, or to get in. Hopefully it's only like 2 houses or something to travel the river system without a canoe. Who needs a canoe? We're just gonna play the game with 0 canoes. You know, we could do... I don't know if this is a good idea. We could do a complete reverse boss order, just not including Garland. But we could even do Astos last of all the primary bosses. That would be a lot of work. Unless there's something that needs the Mystic Key to open a door somewhere. But I don't think there is any, like, required doors. The float spell should mean we don't need the canoe for anything, I don't think. We should be able to get the airship just fine. Spoilers. We don't need the canal. We don't need the key. Yeah, I think this will work. I mean, I want to try it out regardless. Even if it doesn't work out, I want the game to force me to blow up that canal. I guess you could go fight Chaos. You wouldn't even need to. You could skip. You could just leave Astos alive. You don't even... No, I'm pretty sure there is a door. Assuming they kept it from the vanilla game, because we used to find this in the randomizer all the time. But in the Temple of Fiends Revisited, when you go to the final dungeon, if you don't have the key, there is a door you can't get through. So we will need to kill Astos for that. but we could save him for last, potentially, I think. Sounds like a fun experiment to do live, when we need even more grinding than normal. I should make sure I'm stealing. I can't forget to steal gold. Also, this entire episode just turned into grinding. I know, last episode I cut it short a little bit, but here, you're getting it all caught up while I talk about, you know, Renaissance rules. We're gonna have enough time to get to the ice cave today, though, I'm pretty sure. I'll show off that cool... I haven't actually... Well, I've shown you covering a couple rivers, but it's a long river to get to the ice cave. I mean, theoretically, we could get to the volcano pretty easily from here. It's a shorter river trip. But what would we want to do in the volcano? Like, what's the value of that? You could probably get a couple weapons and armor in there. I mean, I don't know if there's like a... I'm not sure if there's a greatsword or a bow in the volcano, though. It's possible, but I don't know for sure. There probably is. I think the Renaissance added in anywhere you find a normal weapon upgrade, they added the alternate versions as well, I think. Like the alternate weapon styles, the new weapons. Otherwise, there's no Flame Sword, Ice Sword, Sun Sword upgrade line for this Dark Knight. I don't know why I'm using aim. I'm autopiloting here a little bit. I should be stealing, not aiming. But my inputs are a little bit off. Oh, looks like the thief is getting 2 hits now. Woo. Sorry, thief lovers. He's still pretty bad. But if we get access to that airship early on, we might be able to get a whole bunch of stealing from all the towns. Alright, level 11 is probably where we will stop once everyone's there, yeah. Let's get everyone to level 11 and we'll call it good for the grind. Oh, this is a pretty rare encounter. You don't see this too often. Bull plus Scorpion pack. Hey, we got a steal and a kill on the thief? Look at that, he's actually starting to do a little bit of damage. He definitely needs a better sword, but I think all the good thief swords are, you basically have to go get the Mystic Key, because you can get, like, the Rune Sword and the Dragon Sword, but we're not going to have access to those, you know, ever. Still steal. $112 damage crit. 442 damage. Oh, did Cecil get a second normal swing? I think he did. Missed twice anyway. Or, well, maybe I can figure out the math here. Okay, I need to see his hit percent. But if it's close to 32, 25, so he would need 64 or higher hit percent to get 3 attacks. So I think the darkness must add at least 30% to hit. We can test it out here again by doing some more dim dark stuff. So 1 attack normally. But I want to see... Now it should be 3 times, I think we saw. Yeah, 3 times hit, I think. That's a pretty big buff. Like, I wasn't sure the exact number, but it's got to be... Because he wasn't getting that at the previous level, and he got 3% hit. We actually can know within like 3 points. 64 is the minimum for 3 hits, so he must have at least 29 hit rate. And 3 points less was not enough at 22, so it was not 32. So it's between 29 and 31, I think it has to be, or whatever the math is. I'm trying to do this live. It's not easy, but you know, within a couple points, we know how much extra accuracy we get out of. What am I trying to say, guys? Geez, the darkness buff. I mean, it could also be percentage. That doesn't make much sense, because how would we go from 25 to 64 via percentage improvement? I don't think that's very likely. Like, a percentage of his hit. It's got to be just like a flat, you know, plus 30. It's pretty sure it's plus 30. Alright, here we go. We got to go back. But we got 4 charges now, which will make it more efficient on housing to get around. Because you never know turn order, it's kind of nice to, like, the guy that's probably going to die, we can not put darkness on, and then let the other team finish off the guy that's already nearly dead. I don't know. Sort of efficient in turn order, but I mean, it worked out good that time. It's you know, it's just very RNG when your turn order comes up. And we're into the safe zone. This is the Elfland encounter pack now, so nothing to worry about. Technically, we could have tried out the Peninsula of Power, but we had a better power by going straight to Crescent Lake, honestly. Being able to heal up at an inn is pretty much always the best grind when you can just full heal for one click rather than heal potion, heal potion, heal potion. Alright, so we want to do a little bit of shopping. There's one level 4 spell that 100% we know we need. Always fast. And then is what can Dark Knight learn? Drain. I mean, it's another way to heal yourself. It's not a huge amount. I don't know what the point of bleed is. 20% of an ally's HP? Like, it doesn't seem very good unless you've got someone who's got a ton of hit points and heals a lot or something. Yeah, gain's bad. Old is only going to be valuable in a long fight. I'll pick up Drain just so he's got a spell in the slot. I like to have at least one spell in each level. I mean, when we have enough money, we'll get more, but for now, I think that's fair. I'll pick up the level 1 time magic when I go back up. But I can afford 5 houses, which is hopefully enough. How many soft potions do I have? We might want a couple of these for the ice cave. 4 is probably enough. If we go through more than that, we're having a bad time anyway. Okay. Yeah, let's go. So a very unusual route. I didn't even save. That's how confident I am. I mean, there's nothing in the starting area that can kill us at this point, I don't think. We are... Now, interestingly enough, when I was a kid, when I was first playing, I often grinded to level 11 before I went to the Marsh Cave, because that's when the monk, I think, gets his upgrade to punching, so he punches 4 times instead of 2 times, I think, at level 11, I'm pretty sure. And that's when he starts actually being useful. But grinding to level 11 on ogres would have taken more than 40 minutes of an episode. I'll tell you that much. And we would not be nearly as strong because we wouldn't have all these upgraded weapons. Alright, so we'll give second level 1 spell to Cecil. And... Lock? I mean, maybe. I don't think it's a very good spell in general, but the Dark Knight has a hard time hitting. That is another way to help. And Haste lets you go earlier in combat, like earlier in the round. I don't know how effective that actually is, so I'm just going to take Decay, which at least I know exactly how bad it is, rather than questionably bad. And the rest of my money I'm just going to buy some save tents, basically. Although we won't need all that many, because we're theoretically getting an airship. It's crazy. Alright, let's see if my travel plan is going to work. Blue's big day. Well, we had a whole episode of prep, but in theory, the reward next episode should be pretty fun, or terribly punishing. We'll find out soon. I've never imagined playing through a run of FF1 and not doing the Marsh Cave after Elfland. It's never... Other than some randomizers where Yeah, of course. But this is basically playing the vanilla treasure and progression system. All right. See how far we can get on one spell. Not all the way, that's for sure. So we gotta recast it. I think 4 charges is probably enough. Maybe even 3 is enough. Okay. With a little bit to spare. So that means we need 1 house reserved to get out of here alive. You guys want me to take a quick... No, we're going to end the episode here. I know. I don't need to use the house right now, but that would give me more bursts, and we probably want those. So I know that I only need 1 house to get out. I don't want to get soft-locked, because I think it's definitely possible to be soft-locked here. Let's do that. All right, let's call that an episode. Next time, we skip the entirety of Marsh Cave, Astos, the Dwarves, the Mystic Key, Melmond, level 5 magic, silver bracelets, the entire Earth Cave, the Ruby, the Vampire, the Lich, and go straight to Ice Cave. Technically, you normally do the game expects you to do the volcano before Ice Cave too, technically, but you don't have to. Well, find out next time if my crazy plan works. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.